collection of 4 fan favorites about supernatural encounters. These stories have all been completely re-edited, so even if you have heard or seen them before, it'll be a brand new viewing experience. But before we get into those stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So if that's of interest to you, the next time the like button is doing stand-up comedy, as they're getting ready to deliver a joke, yell out the punchline. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's stories.
In 2006, Susan Lewis and her daughter Jamie moved into a new home in Southern California. It was this nice little house that they referred to as their sanctuary. They loved it there. And shortly after moving in, Susan's new boyfriend, Matt, he moved in as well. Matt and Jamie got along great. Also, Matt had a daughter named Marie, who was the same age as Jamie. And so those two got along great. Susan and Matt are getting along great. One happy family living in this beautiful little home that they call their sanctuary. I mean, it's a charmed life. Everything would change when the peanut butter spilled. A few weeks after moving in, it's this beautiful summer day, and Matt and Jamie and Marie are all outside goofing around in the pool, and Susan steps away from them to go into the house to make lunch for the group. Susan goes into the kitchen, and she sees on the counter that a peanut butter jar had its lid off and had been turned on its side. And oddly enough, the peanut butter seemed to be running out of the jar like it had been melted. It was like in a liquid state, pouring out of the jar, and had gone all over the ground. She felt the temperature in the air and it wasn't very hot. So she figures one of the kids must have come in here and for whatever reason, microwaved the peanut butter and then dumped it on the counter. And so she reflexively turns around. She's like, Jamie, her daughter, Jamie, get in here. Jamie comes inside. She's like, what, Mom? And she's like, did you do this? And Jamie would say that she literally laughed at her mom. Like, why would I do that? And her mom's like, well, I don't know. Do you know if Marie did this? And she's like, no, we've been outside. So she shoos her daughter away and she calls in Marie. And Marie, too, is like, no, I didn't touch the peanut butter. Susan ultimately just kind of says, okay, the kids don't want to own up to it. It's a great day today. I'm not going to let this ruin it. And so she's kind of rationalizing what's going on. She's thinking, okay, one of the kids must have knocked it over without meaning to, and maybe it was warmer in here and I just didn't realize it and it melted. Any number of things could have been the reason for this, but I just don't care. After cleaning up the peanut butter, Susan leaves the house and they, all 4 of them, spend the rest of the day goofing around outside near the pool. When they come back in the house later that day, they find that there have been cans that you would keep in your pantry, like canned food, stacked on each of the steps leading upstairs. They also find that there have been random objects placed all over the house in strange patterns. In the bathroom, they find shampoo bottles stacked on top of one another, hairbrushes arranged in a star pattern on the counter. They open the microwave and find peanut butter jars and other random canned foods and stuffed animals from the kids' rooms in the microwave. The cleaning materials underneath the sink had been pulled out and arranged in a height line from shortest to tallest on the kitchen floor. Also, there were just strange liquids all over the walls. It looked like maybe ketchup or other sauces. They couldn't really tell what it was, but it was sprayed all over the house. There was shampoo on the walls and soap on the walls. And so when Susan and Matt and the girls go inside, they think that someone's invaded their house. So they run back out again. They're kind of looking around the property, wondering what they should do. And no one's come near their property. And they would have seen someone come to their property. So they start filming it. They go in and they film what's going on. That's why we have all these pictures. And they have no idea what to make of this. Matt believes it's Jamie, so not his biological daughter. Susan believes it's his daughter, Marie, and it starts this awful conflict between Matt and Susan. This would be the start of what would turn out to be a major fracture in this family, because it just continued to grow. You got to put yourself in their position. If you're Matt or Susan, you don't want this to be anything other than one of the kids did this. If it's not one of the kids, it means you had an intruder in your home. If it's not an intruder, then what caused it? They believe that the other child is doing this. They believed it so much that they did not see reason, but more than that, it would keep Matt and Susan from handling this the way I think anyone should have, which is get the police involved. They don't. So they start cleaning it up, and the house was really a mess. So it took quite a while to clean it up. And they ultimately just kind of moved on in that way that people who are in denial move on because you're in denial. That's what they were doing. So a week passes since finding their house in disarray with cans and jars all over the place and liquids on the walls. And Jamie and Marie are spending some time together in Jamie's room. Marie was sitting at a desk that was next to the bed, and Jamie had a cup of coffee. She puts the cup of coffee down on the desk next to Marie and says, I have to go use the bathroom. She turns around, she walks out, she comes back, and Marie has her head down in her homework. She's not apparently paying attention to anything around her. And Jamie walks in and sees that the cup of coffee that had been sitting on the desk has now been thrown all over her bed. And there's only been one person inside of the room, and that's been Marie. She's like, Marie, what are you doing? Why'd you throw my coffee all over the bed? And Marie pokes her head up, and she's like, what are you talking about? And she looks over at the coffee, and she's just as surprised as Jamie is. She's like, I didn't do that. Jamie doesn't believe Marie. She's mad at her because Jamie believed that Marie was the one responsible for placing the cans and everything all over the house. And so this was just another example of her trying to get attention or something like that. Jamie leaves the room to get some bleach. She comes back and she puts the bleach down on her dresser. She had all her drawers open with her clothes out. And she has this bottle of bleach sitting right at the top of this dresser. And so she goes over to the bed, picks up the cup itself that had the coffee. She puts that back on the table, turns around to get the bleach, and the cap has been turned off, and it's now dumping bleach all over her clothes. It's just pouring out. Marie had been sitting in the chair the whole time, and Jamie had seen her the whole time. And so when she sees the bleach dumping all over her clothes, she knows it could not have been Marie. So she screams, Marie looks over, she sees what's going on, she screams. Susan hears this and comes charging in the room, and she's like, what's going on? The girls can't describe what's going on, and as they're standing there, a picture frame falls off the wall, and it startles them all. They're looking over, and then another picture falls. It's one thing to have one picture fall, but to have two fall in close succession to one another, that's not a coincidence. Susan sees the pictures fall. She hears her kids in hysterics, and they run out of there. They get in the car and actually just leave the house because the girls just did not want to be there. This was a big moment in this story because to this point, Jamie, without saying anything, believed Marie was responsible for placing everything around the house and making a mess in the house. Marie felt the same way about Jamie. Again, they didn't say it to each other, but it's how they rationalized it. Susan was doing the same thing, but for both of the kids. She basically believed that either Marie or Jamie had placed the cans all over the house. Now, Susan is starting to believe that something else is going on in the house, and Marie and Jamie absolutely believe something is going on in the house. They actually suggested that we believe our house is haunted. At some point after driving around, Susan and Jamie and Marie go back to the house. Matt has been at work the whole time, so he's not there. When they get back to the house is once again covered in cans all up the stairs, placed in weird orientations on the ground, things in the microwave. The fridge has been opened, all the food's been dumped out, there's liquids all over the wall, and they hadn't been there, and neither had Matt. Now combine it with the fact that you just had this coffee and bleach incident, the picture's fallen off the wall, they're talking about the house being haunted. You can imagine what it was like to walk into that house and see it like that all over again when it could not have been Jamie or Marie or Susan. When Matt came home that night, he was just more convinced that it had to have been Marie or Jamie or even Susan, because Susan's acting like something's going on here, something paranormal's going on here, and he wasn't there. He didn't see the coffee and bleach incident. He didn't see the pictures falling off the wall. And now he sees his girlfriend kind of buying into this idea that it's some paranormal thing. He was a really intense skeptic and was just absolutely unwilling to see this as anything other than a bad prank that now his girlfriend is even getting in on. It causes a huge fight between him and Susan. He's like, why are you letting the kids doing this? Why are you feeding into this? She's saying, you don't get it. There's something wrong with this house. Practically at each other's throats, they pick the house up again. It takes forever. They put everything back, and by the end of it, it's like no one wants to talk to each other. The kids are fighting with each other. Susan and Matt practically hate each other, and that's how that night wraps up. That night, all the power went out in the heard all night was doors banging non-stop. And their stove is set to light, so all you hear is that clicking sound. They couldn't get it to turn off. I mean, right in front of them, there's all this paranormal activity, and they're recording it. They have no idea what to do. Even though we view this story and say, come on, guys. Either this is an elaborate hoax or you gotta go to the police. You gotta do something right here. You're doing it wrong. You're in denial. You're fighting with each other. You can't do that. You gotta do something about this. But now put yourself in their position. Their world has been completely turned upside down. Everything they believed and understood about the world is being questioned right now. They are trying to hold on to every last shred of that former life and understanding of life that they had before this haunting began. And so they don't.
Broccoli cheddar soup. I'm gonna start off by chopping the broccoli into smaller pieces, and I'm using about 24 ounces. I'm gonna set my pot on medium heat, and I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of butter. Once it's melted, I'm gonna add half of a small white onion, and we fry for about 2 minutes. After that, we're gonna add 2 minced garlic cloves, and continue frying for about another minute. It's been a minute, and I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Mix until well combined.
Y'all asked for the recipe for this broccoli and cheddar soup, and when you ask, you shall receive. So let's get to it. So in a large skillet, Dutch oven or pot, you want to saute down 1 medium-sized yellow onion, add some minced garlic to it. Once fragrant, go ahead and add a few tablespoons of flour, cook that out, and then deglaze with some chicken broth. Added about 1 cup just to get the party started. I chopped up some broccoli and shredded up some carrots. Add that to that same skillet or pot. Give that a good mix just to coat everything. You don't have to do it this way, but this is just the way I like to do it. But then you want to go ahead and add that 2nd cup of chicken broth. And then right on top of that, add your 2 cups of heavy cream or half and half. I like to use heavy cream because I like it thick. But you want to go ahead and add some garlic and herb seasoning, a little bit of salt and pepper, and your cheddar cheese. After about 15 minutes, this is what it's going to look like. It should be a smooth, creamy consistency, not too milky. Got that into a bowl, some toasted crusted bread, topped it off with a little bit more cheese. And look, this soup I guarantee is going to be better than whatever you get from Panera. I showed you how to make. So with Christmas coming up shortly, it's time for another soup series. Today we're going to be making this broccoli cheddar soup, so let me show you how to get done. And if you need the full recipe, it'll be up for free on my blog. So first we got some carrots. I peeled them, chopped off the ends, and then I got the grater just to grate them all up. Next I got a couple medium-sized onions. These are yellow onions, and I just gave them a good old dice. It's probably the only time y'all going to see me cry, alright? But I'm using some bacon, smoked Gouda. I'm using some cheddar cheese and some Colby Jack cheese. I got that all shredded up, and now we're ready to play. Alright, so I got some butter, onions, and garlic into a pot. Then I cooked it down, added some flour, started to make the roux, and deglaze with some broth. Added in the broccoli and carrots, let that come to a boil, and then turn the heat down to low, and just let that cook. Panera Bread, there's these little croutons with their soup, so I decided to be extra and make my own. And after about 15-20 minutes,
And the place that created who I am, I go back to that place. I call it going back to scratch. I can't write about David Goggins. Now, David Goggins now is a success. People want to get to feel whatever success is for them. They want to feel that. So I can't write it here at David Goggins successful. I must write at David Goggins fucking man. I don't feel good about myself. And every day I go through that journey. So that's where it comes from. It comes from scratch. All that shit, all my knowledge comes from going back to where the real growth doesn't happen. When you make it so far in life, make it so high up, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to be, there's no more growth. There's small growth. But you remember back when you fucking tried to become Joe Rogan you are now. How much growth was in that? Tons of growth. Learning, lessons learned. So I always read that. That's why I'm a fucking wildland firefighter now. Why I'm a fucking smoke jumper. I don't need to do that shit at all. But I don't learn anything from where I'm at now. There's no knowledge up there. The knowledge is down there in the fucking muck. So that's where I write. That's where I go back. That's where I learn. I always go back to school. I always go back to the basics. I always go back to first grade.
And how much of that is tied to doing things physically, though? There's a certain kind of physical struggle that you go through, particularly with what you excel at, which is endurance athlete work. When there's a mental and physical thing that happens when the two of them are together, it doesn't happen in anything else. Like, you can do hard work, hard mental work, and it's very difficult, and I'm sure you can learn a lot from that.
Right.
But it doesn't have the physical pain that comes with the suck of endurance work.
Yes. There's nothing in the world that I'm able to get. Let's say that Moab 240 I was in, 62 hours. Fucking sucked. It's just
With blown out knees.
Literally, a few days before the race, I'm getting drained. Before the race. So that's in your fucking mind, man. Like, it ain't like, oh, I show up to start, like, oh, this is fucking great. I'm gonna fucking have a good time out here. No, I'm thinking, all right, I just have my fucking knees drained. Like, I'm in pain at mile 0. And that's in your brain. I have 240 miles of fucking head. And there's nothing in life. This is why I love endurance sports so much. I love it and I hate it. It's a love-hate relationship. 62 hours, I equate that to fucking 7 years of life. You can't get that, man. So what I know that Ultra does for me is it packs in. I can't live several lifetimes. I can't. Because the knowledge I need to gain for this life I live in today, I need 2 or 3 or 4 lifetimes to be where I want to go. Ultra gives it to me in fucking high definition real fast. 62 hours, you go out there fucking suffer, you come back, oh, that was 62 hours I gained 7 fucking years of knowledge. The ups and downs, the pain, the suffering, you learn how to chunk this shit down. Like, oh my God, man, I'm at mile 100. How the fuck am I gonna get to mile 118? Everything becomes, you start to learn life out there. And you learn so much in such a condensed period of time, and nothing in the world can do it like pushing yourself to the absolute limit. I call it like, so people have talent. People have a lot of talent. And this is going beyond your talent. So when there's no more talent, what happens to you? Most people quit. People only go to their talent level. And once your talent level is gone, it becomes a mental game. That whole mental game sets in then. And most people can only perform to their talent. And they realize, man, why am I always messing up right here? Why is this like my big hurdle? It's because you're performing to your talent. And then after that, your mind has nothing for you. Nothing for you. I see fighters, I see runners, I see people who they're great, but they get to the edge of their talent. It's like, fuck, man, what's up? Because you're now at the point now where your talent ain't gonna do shit for you, my friend. Now it's the mental game. And that's where people get lost in life, get lost in that next level. And that next level is found for me in the things that I do. It's misunderstood.
That's a giant problem with fighters.
Yep.
There's many fighters that
It's a
are
talent
at
problem.
elite level in the gym, but when they get tired,
Yep.
and when they get pushed, and when they get into that, when the world starts narrowing, and the walls start closing in, and they can't see peripherally anymore,
Yep.
and they're exhausted, and they start making mistakes. So all of their understanding of what to do next gets clouded because they're thinking about quitting. They're thinking about being exhausted. When am I going to get a break?
Yep.
How much do I have left in the tank? Can I even push forward here? Or will I gas out and risk getting stopped?
And that is exactly what you said goes on in the human mind.
Yeah.
When you have a talent problem.
Yeah.
It's exactly what goes on in your mind. So how are you gonna fucking defeat that, bro? You're sitting there getting beat the fuck down by a motherfucker. Just on you. Fucking just throwing you down. Takedown, hitting the face. And all that's going through your mind is what you just fucking said. There's no positivity in that. But when you train the mind the way I train mine, fucking ready, man. Fucking ready, because first of all, I didn't have much talent. So I had to train one fucking mind. You better train your fucking mind. Because my talent's gonna run out way early. When shit got hard for me back in the day, bro, I'm done. I'm out. See ya. Okay. I gotta invent a motherfucker that can. So I invented Goggins. I invented a motherfucker that realized we're not good enough. But Goggins realizes we're mentally strong as fuck. And we're gonna outstrength these motherfuckers in the mind.
There's a big, there's an understanding in fighting that sometimes talent is a curse. Because some people are very talented and they just don't work as hard. You know, Khabib Nurmagomedov talks about that.
Right.
And he's one of the greatest mixed martial arts fighters of all time.
For sure.
One of the rare guys to retire undefeated. But he's like, talented guys don't work hard enough.
No.
He's like, talented guys, the problem with talented guys is they can get by early. They're like faster than people. Maybe they just have a better understanding or better coordination. Some people just, you know, we're not even. Like, people are not even in their abilities when it comes to sports. Some people are just very gifted.
Yes.
But gifted fighters in particular,